Welcome back to the Act Two podcast, a podcast for the real-life working screenwriter. I'm Tasha Hugh.
And I am Josh Hallman.
And we're Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter. This podcast is just one of the things we do, so thank you for joining us here. Remember to subscribe to the podcast, rate us, write a comment. Send us your questions and topic suggestions. They're always so good because there's always such specificity that you guys have in your questions, and it really makes us better. It forces us to talk about things that are more applicable to you and what you're going through, and we love it. You can do that at ActTwoWriters@gmail.com, all spelled out, or on our Instagram and our Twitter and our TikTok. Can you leave? I don't have TikTok. Can you leave messages on TikTok?
I'm sure you can. I don't even have a TikTok, but I know Act 2 has a TikTok.
We do have a TikTok. Reach out to us. Let us know what you want to talk about. You can find me, Tasha, on Instagram at Story Thursday.
And I am Josh Hallman on Instagram.
I have this week's in writings.
I do too, I think.
Feel like we need to check in with each other.
Let's do it. Let's do an emotional check-in.
Okay.
This week in writing.
We gave you notes yesterday on your script. We had writers group. You got notes back on a first act, which I'm glad you sent the first act. I feel like this is a really great way to write a spec with a writers group is here's act one. Let's get this. So, because as you said in the writers group, if this is wrong, the rest of the script is going to be completely wrong. So why go down that path if I could just fix it first here? So
Yes.
I really liked that you just sent us an act one, but how did you feel?
I don't know why I haven't sent more Act 1s in the past. I've had this idea. It's been brewing, and I finally started to write it. And then when I got to the end of the first act, I started to write a little bit more. But then I stopped myself and thought, wait a minute. I need to talk to you guys for the exact reasons you just said, because there were some conflicting ideas that I knew that were there, and I knew I was going to have to address them. And I came away feeling great. I feel like it was reinforcement of what I already knew, and there were great ideas, and I feel good about it.
Good.
Yeah. How do you feel about it? I keep asking you that as if you're writing it.
My opinion is not going to change. I love it. It's so fun. I was laughing out loud, as I told you in the group, that Paul was walking by being silly with Indy, and I started laughing, and he's like, "Oh, are you laughing at us?" And I was like, "No." Laughing at Josh's script. He's like, "Oh." It's this really sad moment where it was very rude, actually, but
Oh, I love it.
but your script is so funny. There's so many when I love something, I'll put a check mark on the side. There's a lot of check marks in my script that you'll never see because I'm not going to send you my notes. Sorry.
No, I do remember I used to get your PDFs. You'd email over with the notes, and sometimes they'd just be brutal. But when you saw that check mark, I was like, yes.
It's no high better.
But yeah, so I'm working on a new spec, and I'm going. And now I have the first act. I'm going to obviously go back in, get it to a better place, move forward, and I think I'll probably submit up into the midpoint too. I'm in. You guys are now along for the ride.
I love it. I'm happy. Because by the time you get to the end now, it's gonna be a super solid first draft rather than a vomit draft, which is what we usually do for each other in writers group.
But then I'll give it to my manager and be like, "Hey, this is my first draft."
Of course. No, of course. That is a very vital trick that writers need to keep in their pockets at all time. No matter what, when you send it outside to any first reader besides your close-knit of writers group, it is your first draft. And I have definitely sent first drafts that are version 10.
That's how you have to do it. So anyway, thank you. What's your This Week in Writing?
I want to talk first thing about Wendy, who is a listener. Shout out to Wendy, who if you guys remember, a couple months ago, we did a charity buzz where for breast cancer research, we did an hour session of notes. So Wendy won that charity, and it was awesome. We got to read her awesome script Penance, and it was a cool murder mystery with a religious aspect to it. And we gave her notes for an hour, and she was awesome. And I just want us to shout out to Wendy because I hope you got something out of it. It's always hard to just sit there for an hour and hear someone tell you like things that are can be fixed about something you've worked so hard on, but I have complete faith. She seemed jazzed by the end rather than disheartened, and I hope that was real, Wendy. You're gonna kill it, no worries. It'll be great.
I agree.
So that's one of mine. And then the other one is I'm struggling with the script. And it's a script you've read many times. It's this book adaptation that I still haven't finished. And I just want to talk about what I did because I was struggling specifically with one particular section. It's like this 20 to 30 page span of the script. And no matter how many times I'd go in and just like tweak this or tweak that or move this around, it just like, wasn't really working. And my manager was kind of at her wit's end about like how to get me to the place I needed to be. And I was like, look, I think what I have to do now is just re-break the entire section. And she's like, I think you do. And I was like, well, fuck. So what I did was I wrote out each scene on an index card. And I have magnetic index cards, and then I put them on my magnetic whiteboard. But index card with tape works just as well. And I just like broke out each scene in that 20 to 30 page span so I could see it in front of me. And by breakout, I just mean like what happens in the scene. That's it. And I put it in, like, I color coded them so that I knew like all the scenes with my main character, and then like the B story was a different color. So I could see, because part of my problem was the plot, like the sort of MacGuffin of this action movie wasn't clear yet. And so I could feel that like I just wasn't bringing in that plot story enough. So by breaking it out into colors, I could be like, oh, there's like 5 scenes before we get any of this plot story. I need to fix that a little bit. Like the pacing is just really weird. And I ended up taking out a bunch of scenes when I did that. Like as soon as I saw it up on the board in cards, I was like, oh, this scene can come out. This scene can come out, because you sort of realize like, oh, it's really repetitive actually. And you may have loved to write that scene, but now that you're looking at it, it's like, that doesn't even belong at all. It doesn't push the story forward in any way. So just a reminder that if you feel stuck on something and it's a particular section, maybe it's the whole movie, but if it's a particular section too, breaking it out into cards and just seeing it in a different way can actually really, really help you.
That's beautiful. I was doing that actually with what I'm currently writing. I have a notebook. I obviously have my whiteboard with the magnetic cards, but just seeing it in front of you is the best. We've talked about this a million times.
In fact, Wendy, I would recommend you do this.
Yeah.
Given the notes that we gave you on some of your stuff, it might help you to see where all of your scenes are and like where they take place as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Get it, Wendy.
Get it.
I'm like really excited because I get to pitch on a rom-com for the first time, and I'm just like so excited. We haven't got to talk about it, and like I'm just really excited.
I know we were supposed to talk about it yesterday, which we didn't. And I'm excited because, listeners, there is a version of Tasha that is a rom-com Tasha.
Yeah.
I've read one of her scripts, and I remember reading it and thinking, this is awesome. Tasha writes rom-com. I hope she does it again. And then she put that script away, and
Never happened again.
it never happened again. This is like the Meg resurfacing from the depths of the ocean coming up to take out Jason Statham. You know it exists, and now she's back.
I feel really excited about it. It's just like a little treat.
Did you get presented and submitted the material for the rom-com?
Yes, someone sent me a lookbook, basically, that was like, here's the story, the like general story we want to tell. And my job is to either make that story work, or it's also to potentially be like, I don't think this story is right. Let me come up with something new.
Yeah.
The lookbook is just like a jumping off point.
Yeah. You'd be like, there's not enough assassins in this
Yeah,
movie.
can one of them be a killer in some way? Sorts. But one thing I want to say, though, I talked to the producer about it. I just like had a general first initial call of just like asking certain questions about it before I prepare my pitch. And he was saying that he's so glad to see that like I'm a fan of rom-coms. Like I already have my tickets for You, Me, and Tuscany. Like I'm so in. I can't wait. I love rom-coms. And he's like, usually, he says I often read scripts not from fans of rom-coms, because his company does a lot of rom-coms, and he's like, you can tell that they're not fans of rom-coms. And I kind of stopped him and I was like, can you tell me why? Like what do you notice, since you read so many from people who are not fans, just like trying to kind of make a buck or just trying to write in this genre for you? And he said, you could tell there's like a lack of respect for the genre. Like
Mm.
because they're not familiar with the tropes and because they aren't emotionally invested in the genre, they don't actually really genuinely like it. They have things like the funny best friend and like he said they also skew really more comedy than rom, because they think that scenes should be just like set up punchline, and that's not really what a rom-com is. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting, because as Josh, I know you also love rom-coms. Like, I love in a rom-com when I cry suddenly, and I love it because the character arcs are so interesting.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was an interesting observation from someone who reads a lot of rom-coms from people who don't actually like the genre.
I just watched about a month ago a Rebel Wilson movie called Isn't It Romantic?
Yeah.
It is about a woman who basically hits her head and she goes into all these rom-com tropes within the movie, and it's really fun. And then it turns into a rom-com, and it's calling attention to a lot of the things you just talked about. So I highly recommend it. And I love rom-coms
They're so good.
much.
They're so fun.
Every Christmas, one of my favorite things is to watch like whatever Netflix is putting out, because it's usually like Lindsay Lohan gets stuck on a mountain or someone else gets stuck somewhere. I don't know. I love it.
Have you watched the one where the girl is in a small town and like a knight comes to life at the Christmas festival, and then he's like confused that he's in the present?
Yes, I think you're thinking of Frosty, where Frosty the Snowman comes to life.
No, this is a knight.
Oh.
It's like a knight in shining armor.
Oh. There's actually one called Frosty.
I think I've seen that one as well.
I hope that's what you're pitching on, the sequel of Frosty.
Come on, Christmas rom-com? Yes.
Oh, if there's a Christmas rom-com, just sign me up. Right now. I'll go buy the ticket right now.
It's apropos because we're talking about JJ Abrams, but like maybe this is like my Felicity phase. It's like reverse.
Yeah. Okay. Are we doing this?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay.
Well, our topic today is JJ Abrams and JJ Abrams cheer moments, and I want Josh to take us into why we're doing this topic today.
Okay. JJ Abrams, I believe, means a lot to both of us for various reasons. I think he was the North Star, and maybe still is the North Star, in terms of his career and what he was creating and his approach and his mystery box. And in particular, he had a office here in Santa Monica on Olympic Boulevard, which was, if anyone's been there, you know, this was the coolest office you have ever been to. It was better than Amblin. It was better than walking on like certain studios. You go inside this place, and it had all the toys from every movie in Lost and Felicity, and
stuff that just inspired him, like stuff from the Spielberg movies and stuff.
Yes,
all in the lobby.
It was a place of inspiration.
First of all, it's almost like a puzzle to get into the office of and then once you get in, it's like a building that like doesn't look like it's special at all. And you go in and you're like, oh my God, it's like a writer's wonderland. And when you sit down in the lobby, there are like games for you to play. Do you remember this? Like little puzzles and stuff. And that was really fun. And then, you get led by an assistant into sort of like the main, it like opens up like Jurassic Park into like this main area. There's just a fucking chef making pasta in like the middle of okay. And then every office is amazing. And then they had like, when I had my meeting there, we went out onto the roof and just like sat on these couches, and it was like a beautiful day, and we just like chilled outside for an hour.
So that place existed, and I think JJ was just doing so much cool stuff. He was producing, directing. He had his hands in so many different things. He had he was posting things online. He was writing books, and it was one of those things where you're like, wow, this guy is doing absolutely everything. Years ago, before the pandemic, he signed this monster deal with Warner Brothers, and you and I constantly would ask, we're like, what's JJ Abrams working on over the last couple months? And then recently, there was a news article that said JJ Abrams is packing up shop. It was he's leaving LA, he's going to New York. They closed the office in Santa Monica. They're downsizing, and it just felt like a seismic shock, I think, at least for me. I mean, and you and we kept like sending things to each other like, oh man, like it seems like the end of something. I don't like that feeling at all.
No.
And the other thing was, I think we both wanted to work with Bad Robot in a substantial way, and that just didn't happen. So now, I mean, it's not like he's gone. I'm just saying.
No, he's still making stuff. He's looking for his next thing to direct. I mean, I don't think it's the end of JJ Abrams.
No, it's I'm not, absolutely not. I would never ever say that.
But it's the end of an era.
It just felt like that. Like Bad Robot was so cool.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. And it's probably still so cool. And he's probably in a different cooler place right now. But that was it. And then so when he left, I was like, we have to talk about JJ Abrams. And in addition to that, there's something that JJ Abrams has basically instilled into you, which you passed on to me, which now I think we both kind of use in our scripts and possibly in pitches, which I'm going to let you take that one. But this, I don't know, the JJ departure was a big deal.
It is a big deal. Yeah, he's always sort of in my brain somehow, because he's like the natural successor to Steven Spielberg, who's his mentor. And I mean, if you know anything about Josh and I, that's our jam. that's our wheelhouse. That's what we love to watch and what we love to write. And so, seeing someone kind of come from Felicity, create these really interesting shows, and then start just getting to do exactly what he loved with the person who inspired him was like the dream for most writers, right? This is what we dream as little kids that we could do, and he did it. And so he was always the North Star for that reason. And his creativity always really excited Josh and I. But one thing that comes from, God, I've been thinking about this for so long, I forget where I even got it from. Probably an interview of some kind from JJ talking about cheer moments and how important it is to write to cheer moments, which is a lot of what we talked about actually in our ET Patreon Q&A that we did a couple months ago with Spielberg. And when I nerd out about the Spielberg interviews that I'm reading, things that I'm taking away from a lot of those is that Spielberg also wrote for the audience, right? To give them a ride in some way. And it's the same idea, just put in different terms when JJ says cheer moment. So we're going to talk about different cheer moments that kind of illustrate what we're talking about. But I think Josh and I are really big proponents of pitching and writing to cheer moments for the audience.
And I'm going to tell one more story that I should have told at the top of this. And I'm sorry, I've told this before on the podcast, and this will be the last time I say it, but it specifically has to do with Bad Robot, JJ Abrams. You've heard this a million times because I almost lost my mind. I used to post videos online for pitches of different movies that I was like either had in my mind that I would never write, or I've written the script and it'd be like these 4-minute pitches of like, oh, this is the concept. And I put little graphics and all these different things. So I put it on YouTube and I get this email from someone at Bad Robot that said, hey, JJ Abrams saw your pitch video. Would you like to come in and meet with us? And I thought it was a joke. I swear to you, I was like, someone's joking with me. And I ended up going into Bad Robot, and they were the nicest individuals ever. I met with various producers. I kind of talked about what I like to write. It was just a general. I did not sit down with JJ Abrams, but they had mentioned multiple times, like, yeah, he saw this video, and they're like, call this guy in so we can meet with him. And I was like, this cannot be happening, because this was early, and I was just doing stuff, and but what I took away from that was it was just that idea of like, he was open to meeting me, which kind of says a lot about a person, where most people saw, like, some people were like, what the hell are you doing? You can't be posting ideas online. Whereas he was like, that was a cool idea. Why don't you come in and meet with my team? And then if you ever have any, they're like, if you ever have any other ideas, come bring them in, come talk to us. And it was very inspirational. And it was a reminder to always keep an open mind of like wherever ideas come from. And the people there were all just so giving and nice and just like open to hearing ideas. And I stayed in touch with a couple of them, and then they ended up going off and going to different places. But that was my Bad Robot story, for which I always loved Bad Robot.
Yeah, that was definitely, I remember that from my meeting with them as well, that they're very much like, send us crazy ideas that you feel like no one else would make. Like that might be the exact thing we need, and we may need to like develop it so that it works for a movie, or we may need to develop it so that it works with one of our franchises or something. But like, ideas were king/queen in their world. And usually when you meet at places, they're like, we do rom-coms, or and they were just like, we do anything that's cool. And that's really great for a writer.
I wrote a script called Breaking Into Bad Robot, if you remember this.
Of course. I will never forget it.
During the pandemic, I wrote it, and I sent it to my manager, and I said, hey, man, this is the weirdest thing I've ever written, but this is a weird time. And he read it, and he was like, I don't know who's ever going to make this, but I'll send it to the people at Bad Robot. And he did, and they wrote back and said, we'll take a look. JJ's looking to direct something in the office because they can't like get out of the office. And I was like, if this works, this is it for me. And of course, the script wasn't there and didn't work out, but
Yeah.
it was just like that openness and willingness to hear crazy ideas. It's just a good reminder.
R.I.P. Bad Robot.
All it means is now we're going to just have to open up our own creative space of Bad Robot.
That's it. I mean, that's like the positive outlook is, and now it's left a vacuum for someone to follow in his footsteps.
Boom.
In whatever way they meet. So, okay, I'm going to start with a JJ Abrams movie as my like first cheer moment, as an illustration of what a cheer moment is. And literally in the theaters watching this, people cheered. This is the definitive definition of cheer moment. When in Force Awakens, Chewie and Han Solo step back into the Millennium Falcon, and Han Solo says, "Chewie, we're home."
That was on my list.
Their minds in the theater.
Yes, that absolutely was on my list. Like he knew exactly what he was doing with Star Wars, and I mean that's a controversial statement in the sense of in the sense of Chewie, we're home, walking in onto the Millennium Falcon. You know people are going to cheer with this. Like that, like he knows, like that's a perfect cheer moment.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's the master at having these little moments throughout the script rather than just at the climax. But yeah, that's a perfect cheer moment. And I think that's what these are, right? These are these little moments that you're kind of earning throughout the script. And then it's almost like this little bubble that pops, like somewhere in the second act or somewhere in the first act, where you just get these little things that just make you cheer and happy, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it makes you happy. I mean, this has the luxury of having decades worth of buildup to this moment, right? Like the history with Han and Chewie and also with the Millennium Falcon. And we all have very fond feelings of all of those things. And so to return back to them in Force Awakens and to allow the characters to also return back with us, it feels like it encapsulates exactly how the audience is feeling. And that's why we get very excited, because it's a fulfillment of a wish. It's literally a wish fulfillment moment. And that's why that feels like a really huge cheer moment. And that's an example of how to lead up to a cheer moment, is give the audience a wish fulfilling, cool moment.
I want to go into a cheer moment that is completely a right turn from like JJ and everything.
Cool.
But it was something that was very memorable, and I was trying to think of other movies that weren't like action movies and things to that nature. And it's from Good Will Hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the "how do you like them apples" moment.
For sure.
You know, you're hearing about how smart Will Hunting is throughout this movie. They come from this certain area of town, which is not nearly as, what's the word I'm looking for?
Erudite.
Yeah. That was not the word, but I like it. And so obviously they're in this bar, and then you have the iconic moment of "how do you like them apples?" And it just hits so perfectly because you've been building up to this moment, especially in the bar where these people are making fun of his friend and they're making him feel stupid. And I think that's like, to me, a perfect earned moment. That's a cheer moment.
Yeah, because exactly what you're saying, right? You have this is like a Harvard guy, right?
Yeah.
Like who's, he's everything that Will never be. And the thing, it's kind of like that's the ideal that keeps Will from meeting his full potential in many ways, is because he's never going to be that guy. And that guy runs the bar. He's like insulting them with this stupid little smirk, and he's doing all the things. And as an audience member, I'm sitting there, because I love Will by this point. I'm sitting there being like, oh man, I wish you just like punch that dude in the face, or like, I fuck that guy. And then when Will gets to like one up him, it's so satisfying for the audience, because that's what we've been wanting for so long in the movie, that you cheer because it's like this really great release of the exact thing that you wanted. And that's part of it too, is like, I definitely have read and seen scripts that don't allow you that tension, I think, which is what creates the cheer moment. Like having your character be in a bad spot, have them being made fun of, have them maybe like feel like they're not going to succeed in this scene, and then when they do, that's where you earn the cheer moment. And I think sometimes we as writers don't want to bring our characters that low, or don't want to like carry the tension that far. We want to give our hero like something really cool to do way earlier than I think we should. So that's a good lesson there for cheer moments too.
Yeah.
I'm going to give one that I think is more of like, I guess requires less of the buildup that we're talking about, like decades of Force Awakens, or full entire scenes to get to the Good Will Hunting one. But this is also in Force Awakens, that where Rey and Finn are running for some vehicles. They're like being chased by someone, and one of the vehicles that they're heading to, like, it gets blown up, and they're like, ah, shit, and they turn and they have to run to another one, and then that one gets blown up, and it's funny, and it's right in the middle of action, but it's funny. And then because all of their options have been taken from them, they're like, ah, shit, well, I guess we got to take this piece of shit, and we realize it's the Millennium Falcon. And that's like a holy shit moment in watching it. I mean, I guess there's buildup because of the Millennium Falcon piece, but I think the taking away the Millennium Falcon sort of like backstory, I think what's cool about it is it's so funny in the middle of action. Like there's all this tension, but it's also a joke of like both of your ships get burned, and then you're forced to take the piece of junk, whether it's the Millennium Falcon or not. Like that's a fun like 1-2 punch. It's like a joke that leads up. That to me also feels like a mini kind of cheer moment.
Yeah, you're in that part in the movie, you're just losing your mind.
Yeah.
JJ does such a great job at just knowing exactly what the audience wants, I think.
Yeah.
This isn't my next cheer moment, but I was thinking of like when Captain Kirk in the rebooted Star Trek takes the mantle, and I don't know that much about Star Trek, so the Enterprise, and he really like leans into what the audience wants to see, just like what you were saying with Spielberg, and I think that's why a lot of these cheer moments work.
Yep.
So my next one is from the movie John Wick.
Uh-huh.
It was the scene, I had to look the club up. It's called the Red Circle Club. And it was in the first one. He had already killed some people when they broke into his house and all these things. And we'd get this huge buildup of like the Baba Yaga and John Wick. And you did what? You killed this guy's dog. And he's like slow motion, breaking things and yada, yada, yada. And I think, if memory serves me correct, the first John Wickian kind of like explosion of his skills comes during the Red Circle Club, when he's like shooting after the sun. He's fighting people. He's on like the second level and falls down, and he still gets back up and he's still shooting. And it is like this release of whoever this character is. And I feel like he's even more badass than anyone ever thought he would be. And he is more equipped to kill more people than we could have ever imagined. And I remember in watching John Wick and thinking, like, what the hell am I watching? And, you know, that's more of a cheer sequence, I guess you could call it. But holy cow, like you earn this moment from all of this buildup that we've seen and heard and talked about, like genuinely hearing about this legend being built up. And the legend is then right in front of us. Freaking loved it.
Yeah. That's a really great one. Yeah, the buildup of the legend. I mean, that's, as we'll see, I guess, is what cheer moments are really about. It's a buildup and a payoff. And can you build it up enough that the payoff is a cheer moment?
Yeah.
My next one is like one of the greatest cheer moments of all time.
Oh, God.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Avengers Endgame.
There's like 45 cheer moments.
On your left. Like there's it's the entire movie is basically a series of cheer moments. But like as soon as it's like the rings start going and you hear on your left, Tasha is crying in the theaters.
Yeah.
But if any of you have ever seen a Marvel movie in theaters when they were released in like its iconic time leading up to Endgame, God, everyone was cheering constantly through those movies. And that's one that was very difficult to forget, I think, is that sequence when the people start arriving again, who had been disappeared for so long.
I watch Avengers Endgame a lot. Like, I'll put it on, you know, if you're sick or something and you need comfort food, that's like Avengers Endgame. I don't know how that happened for me, but it happened.
Yeah, we're due for a rewatch in this house as well.
I see clips that get sent to me on Instagram, and it's always audience reactions from like, remember when you saw Endgame? And it's like the reaction of all that. I love it. In that same world, I had the Winter Soldier elevator fight, or the Captain America elevator fight.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was actually thinking back at all the Marvel movies, and there are a million cheer moments. And for some reason, this was one that really like stuck out to me. Although I can't fully remember how we got there. I just know that when Captain America was in the elevator and he's around all the Hydra people, and they basically were like, Cap, we're taking you in or whatever. And he starts like, he's looking at everybody's like the sweat, the beads of sweat coming down their face. And he thinks he sees Frank Grillo, and then someone else's like knuckles are a little white, and he like, you sense it. And then Cap just starts beating the shit out of these 10 people in the elevator. The doors open, they're all on the ground. I feel like that was one of the coolest moments from like that movie.
Hard agree.
I still think about it. And it's this is like a perfect cheer moment where you can't really remember much surrounding it, but you just know that moment existed and that it was great.
Yeah, it was. That's what makes it kind of a cheer moment, right? It's like the memorable beats. I mean, like as humans, I think we generally love seeing underdogs win. So like it's like an underdog story in that sequence because he's definitely outgunned, outmanned. We love seeing the good guy win for the most part. We love seeing a character whose skills are, I mean, he uses his exact skills. Like if he shot everyone, it'd be less of a cheer moment, right? But he like beats the fuck out of him and he takes hard punches because that's what Captain America does. He like wins in the Captain America way, which also makes it feel really memorable.
Yeah.
Man, the Marvel movies are real good at this.
Oh my God, yeah.
I have two more. The next one is maybe also expected, but hopefully my last one is unexpected because not everybody writes the kind of movies that you and I love, Josh.
That's true. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I tried to do Good Will Hunting.
I know you did a much better job than me.
I've just got one more.
Okay.
And this one actually has a climax, which is an incredible cheer moment. But there's a few before that, and this is the movie Crazy Stupid Love with Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell, Marissa Tomei, and Julianne Moore, and Emma Stone. Have you seen this movie?
No, because I don't know if you remember this. It came out at a time where I was going through a really bad breakup, and you specifically were like, do not watch this movie. So I just never got around to it.
Oh, this movie's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I almost don't even want to say what the climax is because all these things come together. But if you've seen Crazy Stupid Love, the climax of it is incredible. But going before that, in the middle of the movie, Steve Carell, who's now kind of sleeping around and he's out in the world, he had met a woman, which was Marissa Tomei. And then a little bit later, he goes to a school function and Marissa Tomei turns out to be his son's teacher. And it is the most awkward kind of funny exchange. And it is, in my opinion, like in a rom-com, actually, it is a very good cheer moment because it's one of those things where you see the convergence of these personalities kind of come together. And then it actually turns into an emotional moment and a character moment. And I loved it. Like, so if you've seen Crazy Stupid Love, you know what I'm talking about. Tasha, you should now see it because it does a great job of like, and all these examples we're giving do a great job of just building, and then it happens, and then build some more, and then something happens. And if you can master that in your script, you're king of the world or queen of the world.
I totally agree. And that's also a feature of this last one I'm going to do, which is from Pride and Prejudice. I'm going to pull two from them, which I think are like some of the biggest cheer moments in that book, that show, that movie. First one being when Mr. Darcy finally admits his feelings for Elizabeth. Of course, in a rom-com, like when someone is holding back their feelings, that creates the tension. And the audience is just like, oh my God, just like finally tell her, you know that you love her, just do it already. And then finally it comes and it's this really fun, amazing moment. And Pride and Prejudice is brilliant because it sort of twists that moment a bit by surprising you with Elizabeth shooting Mr. Darcy down. But the cheer moment is, oh my God, he finally is saying it. And not only is he saying it, he's saying it in the most amazing way that we could have ever imagined. So that's a cheer moment. And then The last one for Pride and Prejudice would be when Elizabeth stands up to the very annoying Lady Catherine de Bourgh, whom the audience has hated every time we've seen her in this movie. And when Elizabeth stands up to her and kind of like puts her down, puts her in her place, it is such a release. It is such a wish fulfillment achieved for the audience that, again, has taken all movie, or if you watch the PBS version, all show, that to build that tension. So they really earn it and it's like towards the very end of the book and the movie. So they take the entire time to build that up for you, which makes it a really big cheer moment. So they exist everywhere. They exist in tiny indie like dramas and all the way to these huge tentpole action movies.
For JJ.
For JJ! Oh, man. Okay. Quote of the day. I am not trying to be coy or manipulative or Machiavellian. I want to spark people's imaginations. JJ Abrams. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Follow us at ActTwoWriters for more awesome writing stuff. You can follow me, Tasha Story Thursday, on Instagram.
And I'm Josh Hallman on Instagram.
And as always, the Act Two podcast is a production of Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter. This episode was edited by Paul Lundquist.